Hello all, Jamie Rodgers here from Jamie Rodgers Crafts, and today I thought we'd have a little look at a quick demo that I've created using the Floral Lace Collection. I love this style of card. It's so easy, it's so simple, and it's so quick to do. And they're the type of card that you can batch make and also do a lot of your stamping and then sit and colour them in front of the TV. I love a bit of colouring, and in today's video we're going to be using alcohol markers, but I'll also talk to you about how you could be using different mediums to colour your flowers and different ways you can use your stamps to create similar effects on MDF as well. So lots we can do with this one. Another lovely bit with this is it's all about where you want to stop. So we're doing a small card today, but why not do a scrapbook page? And the same techniques, the same style will lend themselves to being used in much bigger formats, whether it's for scrapbooking, home decor, decorations, all of them sort of things we can be doing, as well of course as cards. So let's jump on in and have a little look at how you can create this card. So let's start off by giving you a couple of measurements. So working in inches, we are approximately 5 3/4 inches for the front here, going across by about 8 3/4. But don't feel you've got to be this same size at all. Well, I've gone for some of the quite large flower heads on my design. You could certainly pare this back and do much smaller cards. I know we have an audience that watches around the world and we're incredibly grateful for that. And we know that some of you like to do smaller cards because postage can be a little bit on the pricey side. It's not exactly cheap here in the UK, but it's down to you where you want to take this. I've gone for a strip down my card. You might prefer to go off and do a corner or a border or a little fancy reef. There are so many options. Now the actual panel in the middle, this one that we're going to be working on, this is about 8 1/4-ish, 8 1/2 inches by approximately 3 inches. So again, really stripped back, perfect for a DL card if we didn't have this part down the side there. So again, really think about your sizing to where you want it to be. Now with that in mind, when I'm working on this style, I tend to actually start off with a much larger piece of card. And that's so I can A, trim down to where I want it to be, and B, potentially make a couple of cards in one go. Now I'm not going to do too much of this on today's video because you're going to get the idea pretty quickly and you don't want to watch me stamping loads of it. But I'm going to start bringing in my stamps and laying them down where I want them to be to begin with, picking them up on my stamp press and then going ahead and stamping them. So hopefully here you can see just a little bit of what I've been doing, just playing around, bringing those stamps in. Now, of course, when I'm not filming, I spend a bit more time thinking about my placements and the areas I want them to be. But this is just a quick demo to show you how you can build up a background quite easily. Now, I did say at the beginning I'd also talk to you about different ways to colour them. Now, we also have for you a matching stencil. Now, this is brilliant because it means we can bring that in, we can line that up with our stamped image, and we can then bring in blending inks, misters, or different mediums to go over the top. You could even use a clear texture paste or a translucent texture paste and add that over the top of that flower once you've coloured it. So it's all about mixing in your different items. Now, you'll find on this stencil that you've got the coordinating pieces to go with each of your leaves and all of your flowers. There is only one exception on the whole set, and that is this little filigree one down here, because it just doesn't cut into a stencil and give us the options that we needed it to have for you to be able to colour it easily. But all of the other stamps from the set are on here, including this one, which is actually broke down not only in its full piece, but into two separates. So if you wish to, you can go in and colour the leaves one colour and the flower head another. Now, there is also another bonus to our stencil, and this is something else I wanted to talk to you about just quickly. Nothing to do with the project we're working on, but really nice for you to see that once you've invested in the stamps, there are so many different ways in which we can take them. So we're going to bring in the stencil, and we're going to place it down into our holder, and we're going to bring in one of our matching MDF. Now, there is a lovely little box set of matching MDF pieces that go with all of these bits that you see on the stamp set. Now, the bonus to having the matching stencil is that the MDF will fit into the apertures on the stencil. So when we come to stamp, we don't have to worry about this staying in place. We know that we can bring this in, we can put it down in place, it will fit perfectly into the little aperture, and it will stay there for us. So when we come to stamp, we can bring it back time and time again, knowing that that's going to match up perfectly for us. And it just really simplifies the whole process of stamping on top of your MDF. And all of the pieces throughout your MDF set will fit into this one, other than, of course, that lovely filigree one here, which, of course, if you wanted to, you could still stamp, but having the stencil to match up really makes it easy. Now, once you've stamped on these, and I'm going off on different tangents now, but once you've stamped them, this is the sort of thing you could be creating. This is one of my favourite flowers from this set, because you can just add in the stems and the extra foliage where you wish to have them, and they look really pretty. And this plaque was designed that you could add on a little message on the side. Here's another one here where I've stamped them in black. I've painted them in coloured gesso, but of course it's down to you whether you wish to stamp in black, stamp in a colour, or if you wish, you can of course stamp and heat emboss using this time some gold embossing powder to really make them shimmer and come to life. So just many different ways in which having the matching stamps, stencils, MDF and MDF works in our favour. Now, going back to the project in hand, you see me doing my stamping. I am using a Black Panther Quick Dry Pigment ink pad. This is one of our ink pads, and you might not have spotted this off the side, but one of my little tips is when I'm working with these, I know I'm going to go back to it time and time again, so I just stand the ink that way up on there, so I don't have to keep putting the lid back on it. But equally, I know that if I drop anything or I knock anything, it's off to the side, and it's not going to cause any problems smudging that ink anywhere else that I don't want it to be. So it's just one of the tips I like to do when I'm stamping. Now, those inks, these lovely quick dry pigment inks, these can do a whole host of things. One of them we're going to get to in a moment when we come back to playing with this panel. There's a couple of bits you might need to know. Pigment ink means that we can emboss it, so we can use our embossing powders with them. That's brilliant. They're also archival quality, so that means that we can use them in our scrapbooks. There's no acid in them. They're not going to fade. They're fade resistant. They're also waterproof, so if you wish to bring in your watercolours and paint with them, you can do that too. And these come in 6 different colours. We have got Piggy Pink, which is my absolute favourite. Just love the name of that one. Then we've got Chameleon Green. We have got Squirrel Red. We have got for you Black Panther, the one I was using. We've got Elephant Grey, and we have got Blue Emperor. And they're just a really lovely sort of colour set to work with, and a really handy ink that's going to come in for many, many uses. Now, another thing that we can do with these that I haven't yet mentioned is they are also alcohol ink friendly. So when we bring in our alcohol markers, doesn't matter which brand we're working with, we're not going to find that that colour pulls into the colouring. That black ink is going to stay exactly where it should be, and we can colour these like a dream, knowing that we're going to end up with really lovely results. Now, I use a whole host of different pens. I've got some that are Graphmaster. I don't even know what brand those ones are, to be honest with you. I've collected my pens over many, many years, but I've got Spectrum Noir pens, I've got Nuvo pens, I believe they are, I've got Graphmaster pens. There's a whole host of them, and you should find that it doesn't matter which one you're working with, every time you bring that colour in, that ink is going to resist and you can start colouring in your design. And I get ever so carried away doing this because I think it's a lovely way to personalise your project for the type of person or the style of person or the occasion that you're working on. There's some colours that we know people love. It's lovely to be able to bring those into our creations. And it's really a nice way to be able to colour your flowers to match that. Of course, with your foliage, you can just the same, go in and add in that shade. Now, I'm not the best colourist. You can probably see that already. I'm really not. I've always said this. I colour a bit like a 2-year-old. I'm a bit of a bull in a china shop. It goes on and that's brilliant. But if you're into your blending and your watercolour techniques, you could really bring these flowers to life and make them really pop. So it's just down to what you would like to add to them. But even with my very simplistic colouring, I'm happy with my end results. I feel because of the stamps are so detailed and so pretty, I don't have to be the best colourist because 90% of the work for this project is done for me in them stamps. And then it's down to me how I wish to colour them or what inks and mediums I wish to stamp with to create those different effects. Now on that flower set, there are a whole host of different flowers. I've sort of flashed them about a couple of times, but you've got these lovely, really big flowers. You've got the filigree pieces, you've got more foliage, you've got the sideways ones, a whole host there that you can bring in and build up to make those really spectacular backgrounds. Now, when we go back to the card in question, here is a couple of bits I've already prepared just for speed. So we're going to bring in our card blank and we're going to start attaching our panels. Now I'm going to work just in black and white for this project because I always think that's really classy and elegant. Reminds me a bit of like a nice museum where the artwork's been framed for us and set ready, and I just think that looks really pretty. So black and white, pearls and cardstock. The cardstock is our Elite cardstock. This is our Raven Black and our Polar White. And if you haven't spotted that already, we've now got those in large bundle packs as well, which save you a small fortune on buying the smaller packs. The white comes in 100 sheet packs, the black comes in 50 sheet packs, and it just works out to save you quite a few pennies on buying those packs of 10, just if it's something you're going to be using an awful lot of. I'm then going to bring in one of my sentiments. I'm going to move the positioning slightly because I've just added a little fingerprint. So we're going to add this on just slightly higher onto the project. I'm going to bring it in here. Now I've used the same 3mm foam tape as I have on the back of the panel, but I've double stacked it to this side so I can bring this in and have this hang slightly over the edge just to give that nice raised effect. Now of course you can see that there's slightly different placement. This one's slightly less heavy in its stamping to the original one, but it gives you lots of options in where you'd like to go. Regarding the sentiment, this is the set that I've used, again from the Floral Lace Collection. And we've got happy birthday, thinking of you, sending hugs, best wishes, birthday wishes, get well soon and sent my love. So there's quite a few options on there for the small ones, and then quite a few larger verses as well that you could choose to use. Maybe bringing those onto the inside of the card, so the inside and the outside coordinate in theme, and of course in same similar fonts too. Just ties everything together for you. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. That was just a very quick demo to show you how you can make these lovely floral cards. If you've fallen in love with some of the products, because there is a whole host of bits to share with you, not only in the Floral Lace Collection do we have the flowers and the sentiments, there's also all these designs with matching stencils and MDF as well for several of them. So there's an awful lot for you to collect. If you haven't already found your favourite Jamie Rodgers craft stockist, then check out our website. It's www.jamierodgerscrafts.com, and on there you'll find a stockist list where you can find your favourite stockist. We're adding them all of the time, so do keep an eye on them, but a lot of our stockists are carrying an awful lot of this collection. They've fell in love with this as much as we have, and I have a feeling you're not going to struggle to track this one down. If you do have any problems, let me know in the comments and I'll certainly do my best to help you. Again, as always, if you've got any questions, let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, please do make sure you subscribe to our channel and tick that bell to be notified of all of our future releases so that we can keep you inspired on what you could be creating with our lovely Jamie Rodgers Crafts products. Thank you very much for watching today. I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye for now.